What if we could treat an illness as complex as schizophrenia not with some one-size-fits-all drug, but with a therapy that's actually tailored to a patient's specific genetic code? Well, that's not science fiction anymore. Today, we're going to dive into the story of a compound that promises to do just that. It could literally revolutionize how we think about mental health care. Okay, let's jump right in.
So just to get a sense of the scale here, take a look at this number. In Japan alone, that's how many people are living with schizophrenia. It is a massive global health challenge, and you can see why the search for better, more precise treatments is more urgent than ever.
And this quote right here, it just nails the central problem, doesn't it? For way too long, psychiatric medicine has basically been a process of trial and error. And that's because schizophrenia has so many different underlying causes, so a single drug can't possibly work for everybody. The Holy Grail has always been finding a specific treatment for a specific cause. So how do you find that Holy Grail? Well, you've got to follow the clues. In this part of the story, it's like pure scientific detective work, uncovering this hidden link between our genes, our body's chemistry, and, the inner workings of the brain. Our story really starts with a specific genetic marker, a variation in a gene called UGT1A1. Now, normally, this gene helps your liver clean up a waste product called bilirubin. But if you have this mutation, bilirubin levels can start to rise. And for a long time, this was thought to be pretty much harmless. But a team of researchers had a hunch it was actually a critical piece of a much, much larger puzzle. And that hunch, it led them to connect the dots, revealing this incredible four-step pathway. So the gene mutation leads to a bilirubin buildup. That buildup then messes with the brain's serotonin system, which is one of our most important neurotransmitters for mood and thinking. And the final domino to fall, the emergence of neuropsychiatric disorders, including a very distinct subtype of schizophrenia. They had found the biological root cause. Now, a theory is one thing, right? But you have to prove it. The big breakthrough came from an animal model called the gun rat. These rats are actually born with the exact same genetic defects, so they naturally have high bilirubin. This let scientists watch the entire causal chain play out in a living system, and it confirmed the link was absolutely real.
And wow, this really shows you what they found. You're looking at a direct comparison between a normal rat brain and the brain of a gun rat. And what you can see is that those high bilirubin levels aren't just some invisible chemical imbalances, they cause visible, physical changes in how the brain develops. This was the smoking gun, the concrete evidence that tied the gene directly to the brain.
So once you've mapped out the exact cause of a problem, the path to a solution becomes crystal clear. You don't need a sledgehammer, you need a specific key for a specific lock. Let's move on to the solution and see how this all comes together with a compound that is perfectly suited for the job. And this is that key. Meet Eltoprazine. Now, the molecule itself isn't brand new, but how it's being used here is what's so brilliant. Scientists realized its unique properties made it the perfect tool to correct the precise serotonin imbalance they had just discovered.
Now, from a development standpoint, this is really interesting. The team secured a specific use patent for Eltoprazine. What that does is it protects its use for treating psychiatric disorders that come directly from this bilirubin pathway. It basically creates a clear, defensible new market just for this one application.
So, how does it actually work? Well, think of the high bilirubin as putting the foot on the gas of the serotonin system, just pushing it into total overdrive. Eltoprazine doesn't slam on the brakes and shut the system down. Instead, it acts like a smart partial agonist. It gently applies pressure just enough to ease that overactive system back down into a normal, healthy rhythm. And here's the crucial part. Look how this stacks up against what we're using now. Traditional antipsychotics are kind of like blunt instruments. They broadly target the dopamine system, which is why they often have these severe movement-related side effects. Eltoprazine, on the other hand, is a precision tool. It targets the serotonin system, it's designed for a specific genetic profile, and it has a much lower risk of those really debilitating side effects. It's just a completely different class of treatment. And get this isn't just a theory. We have compelling human data. This chart here comes from a previous trial in Alzheimer's patients, where eltoprazine was tested to reduce aggression, another behavior that's linked to serotonin. The darker lines, that's the patients on the drug, show a clear and significant drop in aggression scores. This is powerful evidence that the drug actually does what it's supposed to do in people. Okay, brilliant science is the first step, for sure. But a brilliant development plan is what actually gets a medicine to the people who need it. So what's the roadmap to turn this amazing discovery into a real-world therapy?
The strategy kicks off with a new, laser-focused company. It's planned for launch in late 2024, and the Eltoprazine Development Company has one crystal-clear mission: bring this drug to market for the specific group of schizophrenia patients who can benefit from it the most, the ones with that UGT1A1 mutation.
And they're not going it alone. They've built a powerful alliance to make it happen. By partnering up with Psychogenics, which holds the global rights, and RecMed, which has the rights in Japan, they are really hitting the ground running. These partnerships give them access to existing data and deep expertise, which is going to dramatically speed up the whole development process.
So here's the blueprint. After the company forms and gets its seed funding this year, 2025, is all about prepping for a huge Phase 2 clinical trial. The first patient gets enrolled in 2026, and by 2028, the goal is to have the final study report in hand. That report will hopefully prove the drug's effectiveness and pave the way for a successful exit. It's an aggressive plan for sure, but it's really well defined.
Now, bringing a drug through a Phase 2 trial is a major undertaking. The total cash required for this critical stage is projected to be right around 970 million yen.
But the potential value on the other side is just immense. With a successful trial, the venture's projected exit value skyrockets to 14.2 billion yen. That number reflects the enormous value of having a proven, first-in-class, personalized therapy for a major psychiatric illness.
And that potential isn't just medical, it's financial. I mean, the projected returns for investors are frankly staggering. Seed investors are looking at a potential 37-fold return on their investment, with Series A investors seeing over 8 times their money. Numbers like these signal a tremendous amount of confidence in both the science and the business strategy.
So let's pull back for a second and just look at the big picture here. What does all of this really mean? Because this isn't just about one promising drug. It's about a potential turning point for the entire field of psychiatry.
This right here, this is the ultimate vision. It's not just about treating symptoms anymore. It's about diagnosing the root biological cause and then delivering a custom-built solution. This project is aiming to be a true pioneer, to prove that this model can actually work in psychiatry.
And that is the key takeaway. The real innovation here is the model itself. A simple genetic test tells you who the right patient is. We understand their specific biology, and then we deliver a therapy that's designed to fix that specific biological problem. It's a complete paradigm shift, moving from guesswork to precision.
Which leaves us with a really powerful final question. Personalized medicine has already transformed how we treat cancer. Is psychiatry next? I mean, if a model like this succeeds, it could crack open the door to developing targeted therapies for countless other brain disorders. We could be heralding a true new dawn for mental health care.